Welcome anyone to my YouTube channel. This is Ever, aka Two Beasts to Kill You, aka the Beast with the Least. And if you'll give me a few minutes of your time, 8 minutes according to YouTube, what you need. Uh, I just wanted to make this video as a little bit of a rant of what's been going on in the past couple years or so for the video game industry. But before I get into my little diatribe, let's hit that intro. All right. So, as you can tell by the title of this video, and before all that, like, comment, subscribe, share, all that good stuff. As you can tell by the title of this video, I'm being a little hyperbolic, but gaming kind of sucks now. Like, it in not in the traditional that back in my day, this and that or whatever. Which, yes, there is some of that, but like there is just so much that now, when you look at it, you're like, damn, man, what has happened to this industry? What has happened to the hobby that I loved? And yeah, but so I want to hit on four things. And you know what, before I hit on those things as well, I don't want to just like say that like altogether, like as a whole, gaming sucks. Obviously, we still get a lot of great games. There are so many games coming out that are really, really good. Even just this year, we've had some really good games. Like Resident Evil, People Love Soros, Mina the Hollower, Lego Batman, Forza Horizon. We're getting games. We're still getting games that are hopefully going to be good, like Gears of War E-Day, Grand Theft Auto 6, Wolverine, like we're getting good stuff. But that still doesn't take away from what is going on in the gaming industry. And I really wanted to make this video after yesterday's State of Play, because of the whole discourse over God of War Laufey. That like there are a lot of people who are not happy about that game. And you know what? I am one of those people. And not because I'm one of those idiots who, oh, you're playing as a woman, I don't want to play it. That's not the God of War game that I want to play. Like, if Atreus would have been the protagonist of a new God of War game, I would have been like, no, I don't want to play as his little bitch son. Yeah. If you played the new God of War games, you would, the newer ones, you would understand that. You would understand that. But it just made me think about, when it comes to the gaming, like the hobby itself, what we're going through. And you know what? I'm going to start with the big one, I guess, would be man, it's gotten way too expensive now to be able to play games. Like, it is just so much. Like, $70 was a lot for us, at the time to ask for. But then we're getting like Nintendo releasing $80 games. Obviously, collector's editions are $100, $150, $200, $250. We've accepted that to a certain point. But then you get like Steam Deck just raised the price by $300, for the 1 terabyte version. Obviously, the Xbox, you can't see them on this right here, but I've got my Nintendo Switch 2, my Xbox Series X, the PlayStation 5 right here. Obviously, I have a gaming PC. That's what I'm recording this on. But the PlayStation 5 has gone up in price. The Xbox Series X has gone up in price. I believe the Switch 2 is going to go up in price. It hasn't gone up yet. Controllers, are going up in price. Just everything is going up in price. And we are about 6 years into this generation now, I believe. Let me look at when the we'll just say the Series X. Let's look it up. It came out in, I think, maybe actually 2019. Maybe I could be wrong. It's 2020. Uh, 2020. So 6 years. We're about 6 years into this generation, and the prices have not gone down for the Series S, Series X, PlayStation 5, PlayStation 5 Slim, all the different, stuff. And then obviously now with the Switch 2 coming out last year, but now going up in price. Yeah, it's just so expensive. Adding on to, obviously, here in the United States, we have our political situation that's, causing other things to go up in price. And so, this hobby of ours is no longer just some, like, oh, I play for fun and this and that, and I spend some, money here and there to buy a video game. It is now just, if I don't have the money, I can't buy a game. And most of the time I don't have money at all. I mean, I've said it on the podcast a couple times now. I bought Lego Batman by paying for it through weekly payments, or bi-weekly payments, monthly payments kind of thing, because I just can't afford it, and I work 6 days a week at my job. And it is just a kind of a sad thing to realize what the hobby has become when it comes to just wanting to, just for the price of admission. Um, you know, so yeah, I would say that's probably the biggest one. But there's other things hurting that have been hurting our hobby and the industry and everything as well. And next one I want to hit on is, I guess I'll call it trendiness. The gaming trends. We get it every so often. Obviously, we get, and I think it really started more. I mean, it's obviously always been a thing. Oh, there's a gaming genre that's popular. Make a bunch of those. Whether it's a platformer, shooter, RPG, we got it. But once you really saw it start to go up once Call of Duty 4 came out back in 07, or whatever it was. I think it was 07. Then when that happened, you saw a bunch of games like, oh, we gotta have to have action in our game. It's gotta be action. It's gotta have cinematic action. Make it Michael Bay-esque, and it was fine, for a while. Obviously, you saw games that maybe didn't really need it, have that, but then you saw games that definitely should not have been more action oriented start to have a lot of action, like Dead Space 3 and stuff like that. Resident Evil was a big one. But as that's gone on, then you're getting, now we're getting where it's oh, gaming companies are now copying oh, battle passes. All right, battle passes. Microtransactions. Put a bunch of microtransactions. We have to have a live service game. Oh, battle royales are huge. Everyone make a battle royale. Add a battle royale to this game. Turn this game into a battle royale. Right now the current gen, or not current trend or whatever, I guess. I think it might become it, but right now we have the extraction shooter. Before this, we had the hero shooter. And it's killed a couple games, or not a couple, it's killed some games in many different ways. Obviously, we saw High Guard, a studio that was formed by people from Respawn, the people who made Titanfall. They made a hero shooter, and it died. Obviously there was other factors into that, but people look at that and they're like, I don't want another live service hero shooter. We have Marathon right now, and that game is spiraling because it's just an extraction shooter to a lot of these people. Is it a good game? That's neither here nor there. It's, from everything I've seen, it's more middle of the road, but it's not enough to overtake Escape from Tarkov or Arc Raiders. And because of that, we're also losing Destiny. And that's something I might actually even make a video on, just the Destiny franchise as a whole. But now we're losing Destiny, and honestly, I believe we're going to lose Bungie as well. And once Bungie's gone, we're losing Destiny and Marathon. And yeah, we just see this, companies, they have to go in this trend to try and catch the mind share, to just get a little bit of that, just some money from that, just to squeeze a little bit more. And obviously the biggest thing just overall is just live service in general. And you see a lot, there's games like the Suicide Squad game was a live service game. Gotham Knights clearly was supposed to be a live service game, and they pivoted once they saw there was some backlash. But we've seen way too many live service games. Even games that shouldn't have live service elements, like that are single player, like Assassin's Creed, like, oh, here, double XP stuff, you know, or games that are single player and you have to be connected to the internet to play them and stuff like that, that are single player. Again, it's just, you know, yeah. Which actually leads me to my third point that I will uh, go hit on is game diversity. And when I say game diversity, which I actually will get to that, I'm not talking about like the color of the skin of characters and stuff like that. I'm talking about the types of games we get. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, we still have so many styles of, like, so many genres to play. If you want if you want a shooter, we got shooters. If you want action adventure games, racing games, card games, dungeon crawlers, just so many styles of games. But for that, you really have to head to the indie, you know, to the independent game front. And the independent gaming, sphere doesn't hold up the industry. It is the casual game. That's why you see Call of Duty always the top selling game. That's why you see Madden, NBA 2K, FIFA, or whatever it's called right now, as the top selling games. Battlefield, another military shooter. GTA 6 is going to be the best selling game this year for sure. And according to Devin, if you watch the podcast, probably next year as well. Games that are marketed toward the mass casual audience. And when you have that like smaller figure, you tend to go toward what is the most popular. And because of that, we've lost a lot of that gaming diversity in the AAA sphere, where now it's just like, just make another action adventure game. That's a lot of PlayStation games, and whether you think it's fair or not, or whether you want to agree with me or not, you want to maybe talk shit about me saying that or whatever, it is true. Um, PlayStation is a lot of action adventure games. It doesn't matter, third person action adventure games. It doesn't matter whether they're good games or not. It's what it is, and there's a lot of people who are going to get turned off by that. I mean, luckily, yes, we still have Xbox that wants to give us some style. We, as a AAA publisher, they're not gonna just and Capcom too. Capcom's giving us fighting games and third-person action games and platformers and all that stuff. And then, yeah, like again, Xbox, which you could take as a grain of salt for me or whatever, or take as seriously as you want for me. Me being a bigger Xbox fan. But we're getting a racing game. We got a racing game this year. We're getting a third-person shooter, a first-person shooter. Next year we're getting an RPG. I'm not talking about from the Activision acquisition. I'm talking about their own stuff. Halo, Gears, Fable, Forza. You know, but overall we get a lot of the same stuff. It's either a shooter or a third-person action game. A lot of the times, that's what we're getting, and a lot of it's open world too. Like a lot of it is open world. Obviously, there's still good stuff even within that. Like I'm not gonna just say if it's a third-person action game, it sucks. Like I love the Souls games, but that's another thing that like is really trendy, and we get a lot of games that are like, oh, we're just gonna have Souls-like elements, um, to the point that it is a genre, Souls-like. So, yeah. Um, and that's gonna make me transition into my last point, which you could stop the video right now if you want. This one's more of a, you know like a full-on opinion thing. It's the preachiness in games. um Now, I'm not one of those people who think, oh, you can't have like political stuff in your game or whatever it is, whatever it is, whatever. But I'm also not one of those idiots who thinks like politics have always been in video games or politics are part of art or this and that. Making a piece of art is political. Or one of those idiots who think like, oh, just because a game has a political thing in it means that it is political. Like Metal Gear Solid having a political messaging in it is different than, say, you know, a Mass Effect game where there is a a political thing happening in the game, but it's not actually saying a message. I would say maybe Hideo Kojima is probably trying to say a little bit more of a message with some of his stuff, um, or maybe not. He guy's kind of crazy, but yeah, um, it is the preachiness, and whether that's fair or not, whether that's something that should be criticized, it is still a thing, and you're still going to get a lot of people who don't want that in the games. They don't want that in their games because we play games as a way to escape and to just have fun and to blow off steam, and we see all that stuff where it's like everything has to be a certain way in movies, shows, books, in real life. And yes, are there idiots who don't want to play as a woman or a character of color or a queer character? You're damn right. There's idiots like that. That's just how the world is. We're never going to change the world, but that doesn't mean that you push back against them in such a way that now turns off people who necessarily aren't going to think like that. You know, um, there are people who are like, I don't care, like, oh, that there's a character of color in my game, or there's a gay character, queer character, because they just want to play a fun game. But when you have your character come out and do a thing where they're like, oh, hey, everyone pay attention to me. I'm non binary, and my pronouns are they, them. Yes, I am referencing Dragon Age. Uh, that's going to get clipped and put on the internet for everyone to see. And then, yeah. Or just, we've had a lot of games that are clearly just meant to be super preachy. Like that one, I forgot what it's a heist game where you're stealing African objects or whatever, like museum stuff, to steal it back. Like that's clearly meant to just be like we're saying a certain thing, and that's gonna turn people off, Or Dustborn, which was clearly another game that was supposed to be like, oh, we're saying we have our message and this and that, and they're super like left leaning, and it bombed because people. And that's the thing, we see this happen so much that I am very surprised that Western developers are still so dead set on just doing this. Eastern developed games have sexy women in it, buffed out men, and those are the games that everyone seems to want to play. Those games get way more popular than most of the Western developed games. Obviously, there's still very popular Western developed games and games that come out that are very well received. But then you get games like, again, Dragon Age Veilguard, which clearly skews toward a certain demographic, we'll say, or a game like Dustborn, or shit, even like that Star Wars game that Ubisoft came out where they made, the character made, and I'm sorry, yes, it's true, they made the female character look a little ugly, and people are like, I don't want this. I don't want to play this game. And so it happens. And then we get these gaming companies decide they don't want to now have this studio around anymore, or we're not going to make any more games in this series or whatever it is. And like that's another reason like I'm a little bit hesitant with the God of War game, Laufe, because they're clearly using the God of War name for something that I've heard. I think it was David Jaffe said this, but I was thinking this already. Like this seems like they were trying to make something else, and Sony came and said, "No, you need to use the God of War name because that's what you guys do is make God of War games, and we need that because we want to sell this game." And so because of that, someone seems excited. They're blowing fireworks outside of my house. Because of that, this looks like it's just in a sense a cash grab. Obviously, it's not, but like it does seem like, hey, you're using the God of War name to make a non God of War game, and yeah, um, but yeah, I don't know. It's just a lot of stuff, and this hobby of ours has become so diluted and a little irritating at times. But I don't know. I just wanted to get that off. About 20 minutes now. So I'll go ahead and end it there. My little rant. Uh, yeah, I'll just go ahead and end it.